Hi guys, welcome to our Are You Sure episode 1 breakdown. Before we get into the episode though, I decided that I should probably go back and tell you at the start, there are no spoilers for episode 2 or beyond in this episode. We haven't even watched it, so there's absolutely no way we can spoil it. So if you haven't watched episode 2 yet, you're good. So I think the first thing that struck me is he couldn't keep his hands off him, could he?
No, it was like touching all the time.
Everywhere.
Grounding.
Grounding. Very much grounding. Right. Welcome to... I think we've changed the name, guys. So if you thought you were tuning into He's a JiKooker...
It's not anymore, because that's not really a surprise anymore.
No. I think we're just going to go with JiKookers. So if you see the name, slightly different. And we are here to talk about Are You Sure Season 2, Episode 1. Oh my God, it's Are You Sure Day.
It is. It broke this morning.
We are so excited. We've been waiting for this for ages and ages and ages.
We were sat there at 8 a.m.
Right there.
Right there.
I was thinking about it last night. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like to be in a situation where this is considered work. Sorry. You can tell we're not very pro.
No, we're not massively pro. And I think the other thing we should explain is, in this situation, you're Jikook and I'm Jimin.
Am I?
You're up and ready to go, and I'm still half asleep.
Well, okay. I don't know that Jungkook was up and ready to go because he wanted to be.
No.
But that's a good place to start, actually.
It is.
First thing is they didn't know this was coming, did they?
No, they didn't.
They didn't know this was coming.
It was very obvious. They didn't know it was coming, and they didn't know where they were going.
Yeah, which there were a lot of theories around online about why those places were chosen, why Jimin and Jungkook chose Switzerland and chose Vietnam. And now we know they didn't.
They didn't.
They didn't at all.
The staff chose them.
Yep.
And I can see why they chose Switzerland, because it's beautiful.
Well, definitely we knew that. Definitely knew that. But I think the idea that it's going to be more of almost a combination of Are You Sure from the previous season and a Run BTS. We've got these games in there.
Yep, deciding all sorts of things like their wake up time.
Yeah. How much money they were going to get. And Jimin on that flag game at the start.
So smart.
He is so clever.
And how he managed to work out, using the questions that they won, to the staff where they were going, just by going, okay, what's the temperature, and is it one of the flags we've seen?
And is it one of the ones I got correct?
Yeah, so he narrowed it all down with 3 questions.
I think they ended up with 4, but that's because the director was counting the ones that they kind of half blurted out in chaotic Jikook style. But the whole time, Jungkook was touching him the whole time.
Yep.
On the leg, on the back of the neck.
Yep.
Like, there wasn't a minute had his arm around his back.
It's hugely coupley.
Oh my gosh. They were practically sitting, well, at one point in time later, I think Jimin did end up sitting on his lap.
Yeah.
They were so close together.
Right next to each other. Bodies always turned towards one another. Massive
sofa, and they were practically on top of each other.
Crammed in the middle.
It was adorable. It was absolutely adorable. So now we have it's opening up, and Jungkook's at Jimin's door, walks in, and it did surprise me that Jungkook didn't know Jimin's door code.
Yeah,
or
Jungkook didn't want to profess the fact that he knew Jimin's door code.
That could be. Or it had been changed recently. That could be too, because they'd just been back from service and
They
stuff.
seemed to phone somebody at that point. It's like, and I got the feeling for some reason it was Jimin's mum.
Well, he said something about Jimin's mum, but I don't know whether he phoned them. He said, like, well, what if his mum knows or doesn't know?
Yeah.
I don't know. We didn't go back and rewatch a lot because we wanted to get straight to you guys with this. But then you go in, and Jimin's, they're not showing any cameras in there.
No.
And Jimin says straight out, he's naked.
Yeah. I'm naked in here.
I'm naked in here. And Jungkook says, like you always are.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like, all right.
Yep.
Bro.
Yeah, bro. Just hanging out.
Bro.
With
Absolutely, bro.
In the nude.
Yeah. So then we've got them packing. I think it was... they did advertise this as a minimalist travel show.
They did.
It wasn't, was it?
Not hugely minimalist. I mean, they did kind of pack them down to some what looked like carry-ons.
Yeah.
Yeah, from like when we went to Malta, they were carry-on size bags, and then they went, oh, you can also have this other one.
These shoulder bags.
And then these shoulder bags.
Yeah. It was. They packed the 2 massive suitcases.
Yeah.
And then went, oh, you can only have these 2 tiny suitcases. Oh, okay, you can have these shoulder bags too because they're from a sponsor.
Yeah.
And then, oh, okay, fine. You can have this other big suitcase too. That's not minimalist.
That's not hugely minimalist. I get the feeling part of it, though, is probably to do with the fact that they have clothing sponsors and things like that. And they've got to take certain clothes with them to show off.
Oh, could be.
And there's a possibility
that
that neither of them packed them.
Yeah.
And they went, yeah, we need to find a way to make sure these guys are dressed in the designers that we've got lined up.
I never thought about that. They did say
Yeah.
the shoulder bag was sponsored.
Yeah, they said this company are very kindly, which I thought the boys were very nice about because Jungkook seemed particularly amused by the brand.
I didn't catch what brand it was.
I
Did
didn't
you?
see what brand it was
I'm
either.
sure someone out there on Tinternet will have figured that out.
Yeah.
And it'll be sold out by now.
Yeah, it'll be gone.
It'll be gone. It was probably gone within 5 minutes of that part of the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I looked at it and went, okay, you're advertising it as, oh, they only get 1 20-kilogram bag each or whatever it was. That wasn't. We packed for a 1-week trip from Malta for the 3 of us.
Yeah.
With that,
Yeah, it was fine.
yeah. But hey, I mean, I think what surprised me was that Jimin was like, fine, socks, underwear,
Yeah.
let's go. And that Jungkook was the one who was like, oh my God, how am I ever going to fit all my stuff
in here? Yeah. And it's just like he if you watched First Up, I mean, he first filled his little suitcase with skincare.
Yes.
It was all skincare. It was,
Well, and from
toothpaste
from the What's in Your Bag interview recently, we know how serious he is about breath care.
Yeah.
So it's, his mints and his mouthwash and all that, toothbrush and stuff. So, but it still surprised me. Moving on from like when we saw him pack in Bon Voyage 3, where he was just like, yeah, black, whatever, and clothes. Now he was just like, oh, how am I ever going to condense it down?
Yeah, and all of the different colours of stuff. He's a lot more, I guess, because they just got out the army.
Possibly.
He's probably tired of wearing the same colours all the time.
I don't know. He did pack 3 black t-shirts.
Well, fair enough. Yeah.
He's still black. If there's the black and the black and white couple, I don't think there's much of a guess as to which one is which.
I didn't notice so much what they packed because I was too busy looking at the coupley vibes.
But then the other thing, when they were talking about Jimin the night before the directors turned up to wake him up and kind of ambush him, did you catch what it was he was doing when he fell asleep?
They were on the phone. He was talking to Jungkook.
Yeah. So they weren't in the same place.
No. Because
they both kind of guessed it was going to be either the night before or that day.
Yeah.
But so they were still talking, and there were lots of mentions for those people who were like, oh, they never see each other outside. They were just like, oh yeah, the other day when we did this and we were talking there, and they were together.
They were.
It's like,
yeah.
After having spent their entire military service together.
And we know they weren't planning the trip.
Yeah, they knew that. Yeah, true.
Yep.
We know they weren't planning the trip.
Yep.
I'm still so impressed with Jimin and his powers of logic there.
Very, very clever.
That was incredible.
People mistake Jimin. They really do.
They underestimate him.
Yeah.
Big time. I think the other thing that was cute was when they got to the accommodation and they were talking, or no, it was when they were in the car, and we found out now that when Jimin was putting messages in J-Hope's live, he was in the car.
Yeah. They were in the car.
Jungkook on the way.
Yep. They were on the move.
So it's one time we definitely got confirmation if people thought Jimin and Jungkook were together that day.
Yeah.
They clearly were.
They definitely were. The other moment I liked from in the car was when Jungkook kind of faked shaking Jimin's hand, and then they were holding hands for a long time and kind of looking at each other.
On the finger. You kind of caught at the start almost that thumb rub across the knuckles.
Yeah.
It was more than just a bro.
Let's shake hands, bro.
Bro.
Yep.
There was no bro. In the bromance, there was less bro.
Yes. Less bromance.
Yeah. It was very, very sweet. I've got a couple of pages of notes here, but I'm just kind of still buzzing from it.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was amazing.
It was incredible. I love the fact that these are longer episodes.
Oh gosh, yeah.
this time, and it's almost like Disney and Big Hit and Hype and whoever cut it together have gone, hold on a sec, these guys can handle longer, and so it's not so choppy.
Yeah.
We're not getting those moments where they're like rushed through bits and they show a little bit because they want to show it, but they're just letting the boys do the talking, and they're letting their chemistry, they build the atmosphere around them. The producer's really good and is on board and seems quite happy to just let them be themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and we're seeing a little bit more of, you know, Jimin getting a little bit upset with the rules of the second game and trying to negotiate, and then Koo like being a little bit more relaxed about the whole thing and finding it funny. And
it was wonderful to see how relaxed and low, I won't call them stress-free they are after the military, but certainly so chilled and so grateful to be out and having been discharged and everything. They seem really grateful for all their free time.
There was a moment when they've got to Switzerland and they were driving from the airport to the hotel, and Jimin was talking about what it's like to be out and looking and going, it's so beautiful. And there was they left it hanging there just a couple of seconds. You could tell he was doing that thing where you tilt your head back because you're trying not to cry. Yeah. You're trying to keep the tears in your eyes.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he just seemed to go a bit soft for a minute and a little bit like setting that aside, and I think the raw emotions.
Well, is that when he was talking about how that he'd read somewhere, or Jungkook had read somewhere, there's very little jealousy in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I mean, I know I've got a good friend on Twitter who lives in Switzerland. I'll have to ask her.
Yeah.
Whether she feels that way. It was just really nice to see that they were talking about how when they got out of the military, they were both very chilled, or even when they were on, Jimin said when he was driving, when he was on breaks, that everything seemed so low stress compared to being in, what did he refer to it earlier in the episode, a scary place with guns.
Yeah.
As long as they didn't travel to a scary place with guns.
Yeah.
And you got the feeling they were referring to the military. The other thing about the military, that story that Jimin was talking about with the really intense training that they go through, and after 5 days, he finally gets a chance to wash.
Yeah.
And he's in a lake or a river or something like that with some of the other soldiers. And Jungkook was sitting, from the drawing that they had, the cartoon drawing they had, sitting up on a hill or whatever, nearby, or a bank, eating. And so he was washing and felt something like sting, or brushes leg or whatever, and looks up at Jungkook.
Yeah. Their
eyes lock. Jimin says the rest of the background kind of fades away, and they're staring at each other. And what's Jungkook say? Oh yeah, I'd been watching you for a while.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when your bro is
at
least half naked in a river washing,
you're going to be sitting there watching and eating your food, your rations or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I would think that normally if you're is there some sort of etiquette, I would think, male shower etiquette about not staring?
There's this whole casual thing. If you accidentally happen to brush your eyes across someone, you kind of do that glazed look. It's like being on a train and sitting opposite someone and going, I just looked at you, but I really didn't mean to, so sorry, I'll just pretend that I was reading the sign above your head.
Yeah.
It's that whole thing of, I'm guessing in the women's showers, people don't stand and stare at each other.
No.
You know, while they wash.
No. Jungkook had no, shyness about saying he had been sitting there watching Jimin
wash in the river.
There's a story in that. If it's not in a fanfic, I'm sure it's in a fanfic somewhere. But then the more that you engage with and see Jimin and Jungkook's interactions, the more the whole thing just there's not a lot of fiction in the fan fictions sometimes.
Well, to go way too deep into something, but Jimin felt a sting, and I expected the story to be, and he'd been bitten by something.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, and he got that sting of when somebody you know is looking at you. So there's when somebody you don't know is looking at you, you can kind of almost sense when you're being watched. But when somebody you know, it's different.
You think that's what he was referring to. And
I
it
think
wasn't
that's
the
what I
physical.
think he felt the sting of Jungkook looking at him. I know I'm being watched. And looking around, because when that happens, you can immediately look at the person and go, that person is watching me.
That's not how I read it. I read it that it was something, but then they didn't say like, oh yes, and it was this fish that bit him or something, the bug.
It turned out it was a mosquito, but Jungkook was looking at me and I saw him.
Yeah. It seemed like the whole point of the story was that, because he repeated it more than once, that everything faded away and it was just the two of us looking at each other. And
all you needed to do on the little thing when you see it, or if you have seen it, just imagine a bit of romantic music playing over the top. when they're showing the drawing,
the
and
world narrows to just
little
the two
chibis.
of them. Yeah. And this wasn't them trying to be romantic.
No.
It was just
nothing
recounting about recounting a story.
Yeah.
So they got to the accommodation in Switzerland and everything seemed to be going really well. They had some games. They had lots of food. Gosh, if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, I'm sorry, because the beef and the lamb they had looked
amazing.
That wasn't a cheap restaurant, was it?
No, that wasn't a cheap. I'm guessing that didn't come out of the 50 francs a day budget or whatever.
I wrote down the name of the wine, but I'd love to try it, but I'm guessing we probably won't be able to afford it.
Probably not.
No. Hey, speaking of which, you can now join the channel as members and help fund our wine thing, maybe. I don't know. But anyways, yes, you can join.
You should put it up on your Patreon. Buy us a bottle of the wine they were drinking, and we'll tell you what it was like.
I'm not sure they'd go for that.
Probably not, but
That's right. I'm a YouTube content creator and author, self-published author at this point. It's more like fund my electricity bill, please.
Yeah.
But they did seem to have some delicious food. The next morning, Jimin had coffee.
Yeah.
Was not a breakfast person.
No, he was sitting there while Koo was like chowing through
and then talking about what he was going to have for lunch.
Yeah.
They'd already decided like they were going for burgers.
Yeah, it's almost like us sitting there at breakfast working out where we're going to go for lunch, sitting out at lunch and talking about where we're going to go for dinner.
Did they say that being an adult is basically just trying to figure out what you're going to have for dinner every night until you die?
Yeah, on a budget.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, at least we don't, I was going to say we don't have a 50 franc budget, but 50 francs is more than we would be spending.
Yeah.
But then we don't live in Switzerland, and I think the prices there are.
Well, I looked it up when he said it was, 30,000 won for French toast?
Yeah.
That's £13 odd. So,
okay.
No, £18 odd.
£18?
Which is like $22
for French toast.
For French toast.
Dear.
Yeah.
You can buy a lot of loaves of cheap white bread and some eggs for that. Maybe even splurge for some cinnamon.
Wow.
And maple syrup.
Maple syrup.
Oh no. It's the thing. So the episodes air at 8 a.m. our time, and Peter had breakfast first.
Yeah.
Or slightly. He at least had some fruit before we started. I had a banana
before we started.
But I will say, if you haven't watched the episodes yet, be warned, you are going to end up hungry by the end.
We're trying here not to give too many spoilers, but just give like a breakdown.
It's hard not to gush because it was everything I've been hoping so far. It was really healing, and even the bits that were games, you can't say the unconscious, subconscious touches between them were scripted.
No.
There will be people out there that are like, oh, look, the director's involved. That was, I'm willing to bet that half the time Jungkook didn't even realize where his hands were.
Yeah. It's not like they were touching each other deliberately. It was just a constant thing, to the point where they couldn't cut it. If they wanted to cut it all out, they couldn't have done.
That's true.
Those are the bits we get to see. Once again, those are the bits that they actually show you.
Thank goodness, if those are the bits they're showing us, what's happening when they're not.
Yeah.
But they were glued to each other's side.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely glued to each other's side. Yeah. And I think that's, okay, people are going to go, oh yeah, but at the end of the day, they went to bed in separate beds. You've got cameras on you watching you sleep.
Yeah.
And they weren't going to be able to, didn't necessarily, I don't know if those beds may have even been built in. It's very weird that it was such a small.
It was a tiny room.
Bedroom for such a big suite type of area in the hotel.
Yeah.
Is it a Swiss thing? No, I don't think so. The hotels I stayed in Switzerland had bigger bedrooms than that, and
Yeah.
I'm not even carrying a black card like they are.
It might have just been where they were at or what they were doing. It might not have been like a more top-end luxury hotel. It would look nice, but I don't think that it was
some sort of resort.
Yeah.
In the mountains or whatever.
Or some sort of ski resort.
Yeah, but I mean, you do what you have to do, and we've been married for a long time.
Yeah.
And we're happily married.
Yeah.
And you don't have to live in each other's pocket. We practically do.
Yeah, but you don't have to.
But you definitely don't have to.
Yeah, it's like...
Just because you don't spend every minute glued to each other's side, or in their case, sleeping in the same house when they have two houses. It is what it is. You have stuff you've got to do, and I spent years in jobs where I was traveling, and we would spend 2, sometimes 3 weeks apart during the month.
Or, you come home at 7 p.m. and then leave for the airport at 3 a.m. sometimes.
Yeah, that 3
Between Italy and Spain, or
3:30 a.m. in order to be at the office in Venice for noon was a rough one. But yeah, so I'm not bothered by the whole, they slept in separate beds. No. I'm not bothered by anything I saw where they weren't necessarily glued to each other.
Yeah.
There were plenty of times where they were.
No, it's like they have to function as separate people.
Mm.
The other thing that stood out to me was I was facepalming when they were in the car on the way to what turned out to be the probably Airbnb they stayed in.
Oh, the accommodation before the airport.
Yeah, the accommodation, and there was quite obviously a woman in the back of the car taking selfies, and I was like, that's going to be picked up and trumpeted round as, oh look, they've got one of the girlfriends in the back.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I did, and I noticed there was a bracelet on her wrist, and sure enough, later on when they're showing the staff, most of the staff appears to be female for this one, and the member of staff, after they found the cake in the fridge, who came in, was wearing that bracelet. So if anybody brings that up, it's a member of staff.
Either that their girlfriend's heating up food and bringing it in and
carrying it around, and
that was okay. Well spotted. That's your eagle eyes. You're so good at going
keep an eye out on things.
Always, whenever there's moments that for years I've been like, no, Peter, come have a look at this, and what do you think? And you'll break it down very, very objectively, very in ways that I wouldn't have considered. But I suppose that's why we make a good team.
Yeah.
But speaking of the whole waking up thing, when we're talking about the beds. When they did it, the last thing I want to talk about before I want to go dive into episode 2.
Yeah, we've got to get episode 2.
Is when Jimin was talking about the wake up time and about how early it was, and he was like, "Oh yeah, okay, no, we're not going to get up. You can just come greet us in bed." And he like makes this motion like he would be lying on Jungkook's shoulder.
Yeah. Which is a really interesting piece of body language.
Yeah, that was, I don't know whether that was intentional, but, it implied that there would have been cuddling, even though, clearly, they had separate beds. But that there would have been times that there would have been able to greet them with one's head on the other one's shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
We're going to get on to episode 2. We deliberately split these so that there are no spoilers. I probably should have said that at the start of the episode. There's no spoilers for episode 2 because we haven't seen it.
Nope.
Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe if you're listening. We're like 10 subscribers away from hitting a major milestone.
Like, subscribe, ring the bell.
Like, subscribe, ring the bell.
Go to Patreon.
Go to the Patreon. Fund our electricity or our wine habit.
Yeah.
But definitely subscribe because I think we're 10 subscribers away from hitting 1,000, which would mean the world to us. Can't wait to see episode 2. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yep. See you then.
I love you. I purple you. Sarangay.
Take care.